Well, it goes back to our earlier question: building trust, building relationships. I think we need to do that with the policing force, the RCMP, provincial systems. There's so many good models out there. Treaty 3 has a model, DOPS has a model, Dakota Ojibwe Tribal. And as we heard so many times and seen in the media so many times, going back from J.J. Harper all the way up to Dumas to now to recently in Norway House, there's been far too many incidents where police come in with their guns blazing, and it's not the way to police our communities. We're human beings, and I think sometimes the response time is hours. It should be minutes, not hours. It's just too poor of a system, and I think there's room for improvement. We've been very mindful of the recent cuts that came down to our police and constable programs. That's going to take effect March 31st. It ends. So these constables in our communities do a lot of good work on the ground. They provide a lot of domestic peace. They provide a lot of presence in the community. It stops little minor crime and everything. And then the government's bill, a tough on crime bill, that's even going to result in more of our people going to jail and more incarcerations. It's going to cost government more in the long run. So pulling this funding for a constable program, it doesn't make sense. $7 million. Come on, you're going to send a handful of people in jail. You're going to cost $7 million in about 2 years, 3 years. So it's very it doesn't make sense to me. It's not very conservative. They call themselves a conservative government. Well, they're not really conservative on this issue. It's very wasteful, and it's spending, and I think the public has to look at that as well, because they do so much good work. Policing. You've talked about courts and the justice system. We were up in Norway House last week, of course, and one chief there talked about the kangaroo courts that come into our communities and they leave the next day, and so we really have to look at the whole justice system as a whole, and I think that includes incarcerations. Thank you.
It's something that goes back quite a number of years. The police they paint us with a brush right away. They think, oh, look at these natives, they're up to no good. You get that stigmatism out here in Winnipeg. I just recently moved to Winnipeg. When they just look at you right away and they think right away you're out to do something wrong, illegal. That's the impression that I get. We have to go back and look at the way policing is handled. I know the government cut back the band constable programs, but the band constable programs are really underfunded as compared to the RCMP. The RCMP, to have one officer suited with all their equipment, they're spending $175,000 for that one RCMP officer. That's a junior RCMP officer, and it goes right up to $300,000 for the senior ones. So when we had the band constable program, we're tapped out at $35,000. There's no comparison at all. This was something that needs to be challenged. It's a policy that the federal government has. We need to challenge those policies. Those are just policies. It's not legislation. I propose when I'm Grand Chief, we will challenge those policies in court, see how they want to interpret policies, because they're not law. We challenge those, then they'll have to treat us fairly and fund us properly. I got you.
2011, the AMC, along with MKO and SCO, launched a court action to review the Provincial Police Service Agreement, which actually funds a lot of the police services we receive in Manitoba. The agreement was made between the provincial and the federal government without any First Nations involvement, but meanwhile, for years and years, we've been raising the issue of underfunding to our policing programs as well as band constable programs. And as being a chief in my community, I've seen where the band constable actually saves lives, in defusing a volatile situation and stepping in between the RCMP and a distressed band member who may present a threat. The band constable is able to defuse the issue because they know the community, they know the family, and they know the individual. And without a band constable able to step in and form a wedge of reason in between the RCMP actions and a distressed individual in the community, we're going to see more people getting gunned down by police. And I'm not looking forward to that. I want to see a restoration of the band constable program. I tried to engage Vic Taves when he was the minister several times. He would not engage First Nations people on this issue. Meanwhile, the Conservative government is talking about safer streets, but meanwhile, they're taking the policing out of our communities. And we're seeing the response and we're seeing the outcome. Less police resources in the communities means that they're more reactive, means that they're scared. Sometimes they go into the communities by themselves, and all they have is themselves and their gun to protect themselves with in environments that they're not familiar with. They're not culturally trained. They don't know our people. They don't know our language. And they become fearful, and that's when tragedies happen. So I think that this is a very, very serious issue. You know, as the Grand Chief, I've worked to try to bring the government to the table to address this. It's been not a very easy task with this Conservative government that is set on eliminating and reducing programs for First Nations people. I'm going to continue, obviously. There is an application in court. It is a live application to have this reviewed so that we can be consulted on policing services we need through the AMC. So the work has to continue.